Hi, welcome to my channel on Going Mainstream with Linux. We are now at the Ubuntu website. It's www.ubuntu.com. And we're going to be installing Ubuntu so you can use it on your desktop. So let's go to Download and go to the Ubuntu desktop link here. It takes us to this page which gives us more than one version of Ubuntu. We're going to be using the 12.04 long-term release, and that's because the desktop will look the same until April 2017. That's what it means about long-term and stability. And one thing you also have to be concerned about is whether your computer model uses a 64-bit or 32-bit computer. The newer models are going to be 64-bit. Over here, down below, there's help installing Ubuntu. For Windows users, there's 3 ways to do it. And we're going to choose the easiest way, which is installing it with the Windows installer. And it gives us some additional instructions here. So to download it, you're going to click on Windows Installer, and then it says get the installer here, so let's click on that button. Then it takes us to this form here from Ubuntu where you can choose to contribute to various areas for Ubuntu development, and if not, you can just go to Take Me to the Download. Click on the Download Now button, and when I do that, at the very bottom of my screen it prompts me to either run or save the wubby.exe file from this source, and I chose to save it. I'm going to cancel out of this because I saved it earlier. And all I'll need to do is find the file in my Downloads folder. Here it is. So all I have to do is simply double click on the wubby file, say yes to allow the program to make changes to the computer, and it brings up this dialog box here, and it says it's going to install it in the C drive. The language by default will be English. The installation size is going to be 18 gig. I can choose a different size if I want. I'm just going to leave it as is, and I'm going to type in a username, and then it has also a desktop environment to choose from, and I'm going to choose Ubuntu. There are also other versions of Ubuntu, but I'm going to choose the Ubuntu version, and I'm going to type in my password. Twice, and then click on the install button. And it's going through the process of installing it, so it's going to take a couple minutes. Okay, so now we're at the end of the installation, and it's saying I need to reboot to complete the installation. So I'm going to reboot now. I'm rebooting the computer, and when I reboot I get two options for the operating system. The first one is Windows 7, the second one is Ubuntu. I'm going to select Ubuntu. And I get the familiar purple screen. Okay, now I'm at the login prompt, and I'm going to type in my password. And that should take me to the Unity desktop. You can see the Unity launcher on the left hand side, the familiar icons, and on the upper right hand side the indicators. And now I'm going to be going over how to install the classic menu indicator. And in order to do that, we're going to go to the actual website that gives us the installation instructions, and here it is. So I'm going to display it for you so you can look it up yourself. And the next thing we're going to do is follow the instructions. So it's saying to get started I need to bring up the terminal, and I'm going to use their shortcut method, Control-Alt-T. So it brings up the terminal. Now it's telling me that I need to plug in these commands, so I'm just going to copy this text here in the black area, copy, and then the cursor is up here, so I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to hit enter. And then it says press enter to continue, so I'm going to do that. Alright, and then the next step is run this command, sudo apt get update and sudo apt get install. So I'm going to copy that command, paste it next to the cursor at that prompt, and hit enter. By the way, this first command was adding the repository. In Linux, you'll get used to that terminology if you go through the installation process. Now it's saying, do you want to continue? And you're going to press, or actually enter Y and enter to continue. And now we're at the prompt. And then the instructions say, now for it to show up, just restart your computer and you should see the indicator on the top menu. So I finished installing the classic menu indicator and I'm ready to reboot the computer. Going to go to the top of the menu, select shutdown, then it brings me to the shutdown dialog box. I'm going to click on restart. Alright, so now I'm going to select Ubuntu. I'm going to type in my password. And then we take a look at the very top of the panel and we see, sure enough, there's the classic menu indicator. So let's try it out. If I click on it, I can see all the menus. Great. So now all I have to do is make the Unity launcher look like how I have it set up in the previous videos. To get my Unity launcher to look like this, I'm going to have to do two things. I'm going to have to resize it, and the second thing I'm going to have to do is add all the icons I want of the programs that I either have installed or haven't installed yet. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to resize it, and to do that you just click on System Settings, go to Personal Appearance, click on that, and at the very bottom is the launcher icon size. I'm going to change it by dragging it to the left to 38. Then I'm going to close it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple icons. The first one I'm going to add is Thunderbird. It's the email client. I already have some of these applications already installed from the Ubuntu Software Center where I looked them up. You're going to have to do that yourself if you'd like the same type of applications. So I'm going to go to the dash. I'm going to type in Thunderbird, and it brings up the Thunderbird mail icon. I'm going to click on that. Notice I already have it set up. For you, you would have to go through the setup process. I can tell it's already active by the Unity launcher's indication here. There's a white arrow that shows that it's active. And if I just close this, it would disappear. So I don't want it to disappear. I want it permanently on the launcher, and in order to do that I'm going to hover over it with my mouse, right click it, and then click on Lock to Launcher. Then when I close the email client, you'll notice it's still there. So now I can drag this to the top wherever I want it. I'm going to drag it in between LibreOffice Impress and LibreOffice Calc. Next thing I'm going to do is add a few more icons. This one's a PDF mod application. I'm going to go to dash, backspace, type in PDF, and it brings up the PDF mod application I already downloaded. I'm going to click on that, brings it up, and likewise I do the same thing. I hover over it with my mouse, right click, select Lock to Launcher, then I close the PDF mod. Then I drag it underneath Thunderbird. I'm going to do two more after this, and then I should be done. So I'm going to go to the dash. Next thing I'm going to add is printing. I'm going to backspace, type in PR, and it brings up the printing icon. So I'm going to click on that, and it brings up the printing local host window. Notice I already have my printer set up, and I'm going to do the same thing on the Unity launcher. I'm going to hover over it with my mouse, right click, Lock to Launcher, close the printing window, drag it underneath the PDF mod application icon, and then the last one I'm going to do is the scanner. So I'll go to dash, and then I'm going to backspace, type in Simple Scan. Brings up Simple Scan. I'm going to click on it. No scanners are detected because I don't have my scanner plugged in. And I'm going to hover over it, over the Unity launcher, the Simple Scan icon, right click, click Lock to Launcher, and then I'm going to close the Simple Scan window. Next I'm going to drag it underneath the printing icon. There's a couple more icons here that I'm not going to set up in this tutorial. You can look it up yourself. You can go look in the Ubuntu Software Center for this one. Here is Cheese. It's a webcam application. This one's Record My Desktop. It's a desktop recorder that records your desktop. And then this one is Open Shot, and it's a video editor. So that concludes the tutorial.